Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to No Man's Sky. As you're no doubt well aware by now, a massive update has dropped for this game called the Foundation Update, and it introduces a number of different modes for the game, most notably normal, creative and survival. I'm going into creative mode here just to have a look at what it's all about. So it's called the Foundation Update because it's going to be the first among many future patches. All of these will build upon the game and substantially improve it by all accounts. Now, Hello Games have unsurprisingly been extremely quiet since the game's launch. There's been massive amounts of bad publicity about this game, perhaps most of it deserved, perhaps some of it undeserved, but I'm not here to judge. I'm not going to be here to pile on the hate. But whatever way you really look at it, No Man's Sky really did fail to deliver in many regards. It wasn't the game a lot of people were expecting, and even if you did enjoy the game, it didn't have a huge amount of depth to it. So what does this new update add? Does it change things? Does it put us on new footing? Is it worth coming back to have a look at this game? Well, the update does indeed bring a huge amounts of changes to the game. Right at the start of the video, you saw the new mode selection menu. We've got the normal mode menu, which is the original exploration mode. There's a creative mode, which allows players to explore the universe without limits. And there's survival mode, which really changes the game, so it says, and creates a much more enduring challenge. One of the big things that most people are going to want to try out though, of course, is base building. Now when you start the game in creative mode, you start with, as you saw, a ship and a little circular base here. You go in here and you've got most of what you need to get yourself started with. Of course, also on unlimited mode, or should I say creative mode, you've got unlimited resources to use. So you can just go through the menus here, you just push up on the D-pad if you're using a controller, and you'll have pretty much every module that's available in the game right to hand, and you can create as many of these as you actually want. Bases then can be customized to look very, very nice. You can have them completely closed in, or you can have some of them with windows like this, and I really do feel that the windows add a very nice touch, especially because they're fairly tinted here. So as you can see, we can just keep making these tunnels, and we've got a little T-piece here that we can add at the end, and then you've got all sorts of room parts such as ladders, doors and gantries. If you're in survival mode, you'll need to gather resources before you can construct any of these, and on the bottom right of the screen there, you can see what type of resources you actually need for each module. Interestingly enough, it seems you don't need too many resources, at least for the basic modules, so it really shouldn't take you too long in survival mode to go out and collect enough resources to build yourself a basic base. So here we're using the cuboid room module to build a room out, and I wanted to put a few windows in, and you can see there's a selection of them, nice big ones. They really do give you a wonderful view of the outside, quite scenic then. And of course you can outfit the interior with all sorts of decorations and furniture. But not only that, there's also a lot of tech modules you can use that have various functionalities. Now if you start the game in survival mode, you won't have access to any of these modules. Before you can get access to them, you need to research them, and to do that you need to put a little module down here and then hire a worker to do that work for you, and you can hire them from various space stations. So one of the other major parts of this update is farming. Now I haven't had a chance to look at farming yet because I think it's more useful with survival mode. It doesn't seem to serve a purpose with creative mode, but basically it allows you to grow all sorts of resources inside your base, and most of these are for resources that are biome dependent. So certain planets have certain resources that aren't available on other planets, but with farming you can grow everything you need inside your bases. Hiring a worker is also important for this as well. They will research into various plant types, enabling you to grow them. Now, base building isn't the only thing you can do. If you're into exploration still, planetary surface exploration, you can build camps out there. You can build save points which enable you to save wherever you are, and you can also build beacons which enable you to come back to locations that you've previously discovered. For me, this is a massive quality of life update, and it actually brings a huge amount to exploration because it makes it that bit more useful and that much more reliable for you to go on out there. Now the other big thing, of course, the biggest perhaps, is freighters. You saw them just out there, we flying past them. You can now dock with these, and they've got a massive docking bay inside with all sorts of other ships coming and going. And just as with the other game modes, you can interact with these ships and even purchase them. Now in creative mode, no money is needed, no resources needed, and you've basically got infinite health as well. So whenever you see these ships come in, you can purchase them without any cost to you. So the bigger the ship you find, the one with the more slots, you're certainly going to want them, and they won't be a problem to you anymore. So there's now essentially a way for everyone to play the game depending on your playstyle, and each of these modes offers some sort of direction and purpose to the game as well. And for many people, it's that sense of direction, that sense of purpose that the game was really lacking. It could also be said quite rightly that it was lacking many other things as well, but it seems there are many other updates on the cards, and in fact some players have been through some of the game files and found things like planetary vehicles should be making an appearance before too much longer. Now, freighters are huge, very, very large places, and they're peopled with a number of crew members, and you can walk up to the bridge here and see right outside, see the expanse of space, the other planets, and if you're in a fleet you can see the other freighters around as well. But not only that, freighters do serve one very specific useful purpose. You can now purchase them and make them a home. You can have them follow you around space from system to system, you can store things here, and you can even rebuild the interior of them. Being in creative mode, I have no idea how much these things actually cost, but by all accounts they're very expensive indeed, and probably something you're not going to come across very easily otherwise if you're playing on one of the other modes. But with creative, like I say, money isn't involved, so you can just pretty much have whatever you want. So I've now purchased this freighter here, and it does have its own storage, just 18 slots, but I believe that can be expanded upon. But one of the more interesting things is the base building here. Not only have you got a planetary surface base, but you can use much of the same modules and materials to expand upon the interior of the freighter here. Just head up towards the back of the bridge, there's a door and a little circular room. And once you're in here, just like with the base, you can build on it and expand upon it to quite an extensive degree. Now, many of the modules are not available for freighter building, but you do have corridors and you do have the room modules. As a test, I wanted to see how far towards the back of the freighter I could actually construct things, and right here I just put up the corridor module and just keep on going, so we'll see just how far we can actually go. Now, even on planets, the size of the area you can actually construct within is fairly limited, but if you're playing on the PC version, you can actually modify one of the config files to remove these limitations, and as you can see we can go quite a way back before we hit any sort of wall. What's also nice here is that you can construct multiple decks, all of them of equal size, and you have ladders to enable you to get between the decks. Just as with planetary bases, you can also place tech modules here that give you all manner of different functions, essentially giving you a mobile home that you can take with you from system to system. There's also a number of other changes that I haven't shown here. One is automated gathering, so you can have someone gather resources for you whilst you're away. Another is changes to the interfaces, some more user-friendly things enabling you to stack items, for example, and there's a few graphical changes as well. The little decals here I thought were a nice touch, as they enable you to label rooms or decks depending on what you really want to do. So what do I think of this update then? Well, overall it brings a huge amount of content to the game. It's very early days for me yet to give any sort of really strong opinion, because after all I've only been messing around in creative mode here, but from what I can see, like I say, it offers some much needed direction for the game, and I think I'm going to start in survival mode and see how far along I can get with that. I think it's going to provide an interesting challenge and should be some quite bit of fun as well. The sad thing about it is that it may be all a little too late for Hello Games. But that said, shortly after the update was released, this became the number 2 bestseller on Steam, and I think the number 1 bestseller on GOG. So my opinion then on the update so far is, if you've already got a copy of No Man's Sky and you've put it in the corner and not touched it for a while, I suggest that you go and blow off that dust and give it another try. I think you may be surprised. I'll be back later on then with some No Man's Sky survival videos. For now though, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.